Hi, this is Dr. Jansen Kalalan, your lifestyle medicine doctor, talking to you about the importance of having a healthy lifestyle. The top 5 causes of death among Filipinos include heart attack, stroke, cancer, diabetes, and hypertension. These 5 are lifestyle-related diseases, and the most important risk factor for developing these diseases is food or your diet. So what is it about in your food that causes these diseases? Number 1, if you eat a very high amount of animal food products such as red meat, eggs, dairy, and processed foods like corned beef, corned tuna, sausages, and the like. Also, if you consume a diet that is very high in salt, you risk developing hypertension, stroke, heart attack, and stomach cancer. A diet that is high in sugar or processed carbohydrates can also lead to obesity and diabetes. With all the unhealthy foods around us, how then can we navigate to have a very healthy diet? Number 1 to include is fiber. Fiber is very important because fiber acts like a sponge when you consume this so that you don't absorb all the sugar, all the nutrients immediately. You can then have a sustained absorption of energy to last you the whole day. You can then prevent insulin spikes to reduce the stress in your pancreas. Another benefit of having a high fiber intake is to feed your gut microbiota. This is also known as your good bacteria found in your gut. Your gut microbiota has a very big role in your immune system and the prevention of colorectal cancer. That's why it is very important to have an abundance of good bacteria in your gut. Fiber is found uniquely in plants, and plant foods include fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. It is very important for you to consume high amounts of these plant foods to lower your risk of developing the top 5 causes of death of Filipinos. Another very important aspect of our lifestyle is physical activity. Having a sedentary lifestyle or prolonged sitting is now considered as the next smoking because it is already detrimentally associated with your weight, with your lipid metabolism, and insulin function. If you are sedentary, people tend to gain weight, people tend to have high blood cholesterol levels and high triglyceride levels, which will impact your insulin metabolism. Typically, insulin resistance is the one that happens when you are sedentary. And if you have insulin resistance, then you have an increased risk of developing diabetes. So how much physical activity should we get to get the maximum benefit? Okay. Number 1, cardio exercises. Cardio exercises include exercises or physical activities like walking, jogging, cycling, dancing, and the like. How much cardio exercise do you then need? If you want to do moderate intensity physical activity, then the minimum is 150 minutes per week. If you want to do vigorous intensity physical activity, then the minimum is 75 minutes per week. How then can you know that what you're doing is already moderate in intensity or vigorous? What you can do is to do the talk test. The talk test is a simple test to know the intensity of the physical activity that you're doing. While doing the physical activity or the exercise, if you can still speak but cannot sing anymore, then that's moderate in intensity. If you cannot speak at all, then that's vigorous. However, this can still be very subjective. So if you want to be more objective about it, then you can base it on your heart rate. How then can we determine your target heart rate if you want to do moderate or vigorous intensity physical activity? Then we need to get your heart rate maximum for your age. The formula is to subtract your age from 220. So for example, for a 50-year-old man, the heart rate maximum for this person is 170 beats per minute. So once you get your heart rate maximum, just multiply 64 to 76% to get your heart rate for a moderate intensity exercise. If you want to get your target heart rate for vigorous intensity exercise, just get 76% of your heart rate maximum. The next exercise that's important for you to do are resistance exercises or your weight-bearing exercises. This involves weightlifting and calisthenics. The benefit of doing resistance exercises is that it can preserve your capacity to do your activities of daily living for a longer period of time. What then is the requirement for resistance exercises? What you need to do is to perform 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions of resistance exercises. And you can do this for 2 to 3 times a week. Lastly, let's talk about sleep. Sleep is very important as this is the time for us to recuperate, to regenerate, and to heal our body. Poor quality sleep is associated with overweight and obesity. It can also increase your risk for developing heart disease. It can cause your immune system to be erratic. It is correlated with a lot of cancers like breast cancer, colorectal cancer, prostate cancer, and endometrial cancer. And lastly, it has a very big impact on your mental health. So what then is the recommended number of hours of sleep for adults? It is between 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Some tips for you to have good quality sleep include: make sure you have regularity. Wake up and sleep at around the same time each day. Another tip is to make sure you have adequate sun exposure. The sun is the one that controls our sleep cycle. If you don't get adequate sun exposure, then you would have trouble sleeping and your sleep cycle can shift. Number 3 is to avoid things or doing things that keep you awake at night. Number 1 is screen time. Our devices emit blue light which can suppress your melatonin. By the way, melatonin is the hormone that your brain secretes to make you fall asleep. And if you are on your screen for long periods of time, especially at night, the blue light that is being emitted from your screen can suppress the melatonin, which will impact your capacity to sleep. Number 2, avoid eating at night or having midnight snacks. If you eat during midnight, all the calories that you just ate will be turned to fat. And again, if your weight is very high, this can produce problems in your sleep. Number 3, avoid relying on alcohol to make you fall asleep. Alcohol is both a stimulant and a depressant. So yes, it can help you fall asleep. However, the problem there is you won't be able to go into restorative sleep, which is the more important phase of your sleep cycle. So here are the tips for you to have a very healthy lifestyle. Thank you for watching.